Doing pretty good.
Is it a help to you in preparation that it's on a short week, it's a team and offensive linemen that you're somewhat familiar with?
Yeah, it's a divisional rival, so you have somewhat of an idea of what they're gonna do. But it's still early in the season. They got a new team, new identity. It still should be pretty interesting come Thursday.
How do you handle, a short week like this at this stage of your career? Is it
Um,
tougher?
for me, yes. Usually I don't start. I really don't start. I don't really rock the soreness off until Thursday. So Thursday or Friday. So the short week is just a huge emphasis on recovery, and just the mental side of it. Just getting as much sleep and rest as we can get, recovering the body, and it's all mental work, film. Really just understanding what we're doing as a defense and how we want to fit everything up.
Jordan Poyer was a big part of this defense for the last couple of years. What did he mean to you when you first came to Buffalo up until last season?
Yeah, Poe, that's my guy, man. That's my golf buddy. As soon as I got here, we had an instant connection, and like I said, that's my golf buddy. We played a lot of golf together. I rode in that cart beside him a lot of times. He was always a driver, but I rode in that cart with him a lot of the times, and I got to know him and his family. Spent time with him this off season, so that's gonna be my brother. And life is so much bigger than football. But we do have a game Thursday versus the Miami Dolphins and Jordan Poyer, so it'll be a little bit weird seeing him over there, but it's football at the end of the day, and when the lights come on and helmets come on, we're just trying to win the game, and I'm sure he's trying to do the same too.
You went through it. Obviously, it's very different, but you went through it going against Denver. What were the emotions like, and what do you think his emotions will be like? Because obviously, he spent so much time here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to beat your old team. You want to beat your old team. Obviously, you want to have a good game versus your old team. Those are all givens, and but there's still a lot of love there too. I remember, last year when I was the captain, and just going over there and seeing all those guys and seeing Cortland. After the coin toss, it was kind of like, do I give you a hug, or do I just give you a dap, or do I just run off? It's still that little weird personal side of it, but when the lights come on and the bullets start flying, it's all football for sure.
Tua led the NFL last year in shortest time to throw the ball on average.
Hmm.
How does that impact your rush plan? Do you think more about passing lanes, getting in them? Or
No.
What do you think?
No, I just think about rushing, and whenever it's an opportunity for us to get them, we got to make sure it happens. Whenever it goes over 2.4 seconds, 2.5 seconds, we got to be there, knowing that we won't get a lot of opportunities to rush. So, obviously you want to push the pocket, get in his face. That's what everybody knows. All 32 teams know that. But he is going to get the ball off fast. It's just whenever the opportunity presents itself for us to rush and get back there, we got to make it work.
I know it's not all about the sacks. You had a few pressures in that game the other day. But when you land like that, especially in the fourth quarter, take me into that and the feeling for you specifically.
I think when the game, even before the game first started, when I was out there in warm-ups, like I felt good, like physically. So I think that just kind of rolled over into my attitude. Like I was having fun out there. And then to start the game, to have some good rushes to start the game, my first 1 or 2 rushes, I was already back there. Like, it really, of course you want to get the sacks, but I felt good. I felt good enough knowing that I can get back there. I felt good knowing that it's just not, I don't have to just luck up and get a sack. Like I can make it happen. And I think that that rolled over into just my attitude. Even when we was down by 14 points, I was still, having fun, knowing that we got the ball at half, and knowing that I still had a lot of opportunities to rush the passer. And I think whenever you can go out there and do your job, it's just fun. Like, it's just fun. Whenever you can be effective at your job and you can go out there and rush, even though I didn't get a sack or anything like that the first half, I felt good. I felt like I could do my job. I felt like I didn't have to, fall into it. I felt like I could just go make it happen. And I think that rolled over to my attitude, and I was just having fun out there, knowing that whenever the opportunity presented itself, I was going to be able to make a play, and it did in the fourth quarter. And it was good to get a sack. It was my first sack in 2 years. And, you think about it, I've been thinking about that all the way since my last sack versus the Vikings in 2022, and then 2 weeks later you get hurt and you thinking like, dang, like, and you seeing all the numbers like 123 and a half sacks is where I'm at, and I'm thinking like, will it ever go up? Like, will I ever get another one? And you play next year, you played a year after that in 2023 and didn't have the type of success that I wanted, and coming to this year is like, I still had to prove that to myself. No matter what I said, I still had to prove that to myself, and to go out there and just do it all over again and just fall back in the groove and get a sack, like, it felt good. And you think about the sack, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run a whole lap around the field and I'm gonna cheer and stuff. But when you get it, it's just business as usual. Like, it wasn't a surprise to me. I knew that I could still do it. I knew I could still rush the passer the way I know how. I had good training camp practices. I had a good team practice versus the Steelers, so I felt comfortable knowing that I could still do it, and it was still good to go out there and do it on paper.
What makes Teron Armstead so tough?
He's just a solid, very solid tackle, one of the best tackles in the league. He can move left to right. He's strong. He's smart. He can bend with you. He's one of the best tackles in the league. He's been one of the best tackles in the league for a very long time.
Speaking of sacks, what about Greg? Was that some of the gunpowder and gasoline you were feeding him?
No, it's starting to sprout now. It's starting to sprout. 2 years later, it's starting to sprout. But he's been taking steps. And last year he had a lot of good rushes, even though they didn't lead to sacks. He had a lot of good rushes. So, I sit right beside him in the meeting room, and we see the same thing. We speak the same language. So, I'm seeing what he sees. He sees what I see, and we knew that. I always knew that he was one of the best defensive ends in the league. Like I said after the game, it's only about 5 of them, and he's one of them. And to go out there and prove that, like, week 1, 3 sacks out the gate, I think that is a huge confidence booster. And it's not just words anymore. Even though words are powerful, it's not just words anymore. Like, it's the real deal, and you can see it in Groot every time he rushes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.